Hello, everyone. Kristi here, and I am with my patrons on our June Hangout, and we were talking about piercings off air, which is why we're a little bit late, because we were just having such a pleasant conversation and got a little bit distracted.
Then would you like to be a part of that, won't you?
Yes. So that was the piercing conversation. I guess that came to a natural close.
Well,
unless anyone else wants to pipe. Yeah, go ahead.
My oldest brother in high school did get piercings, and my parents are cool because they always just like pick their battles. They just like, yeah, our son could like get piercings, and I love my mother's reason why she encourages my oldest brother to get piercings, because it teaches my oldest brother the importance of jewelry.
Gotta be able to identify a nice piece of jewelry once you've got piercings.
Exactly, and take care of them too.
That's true.
Geez. Yeah, I was saying, especially piercings on the face. I always think of the quote by Sam Gamgee on in Lord of the Rings, when the quote was he said, Sam said, "My father doesn't hold with ironmongery," and I kind of think of that. I'm not sure how I feel about ironmongery in the face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it was better in my mind. But no, I think it's cool if that's what if that's what you want to do, and some of it looks really nice, like Chris's and yours, Leto.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know about Kristi's because
but not many people do.
Mine are not on the face though; they are just on the ears. I had a lot on my face when I was younger. I had one here on the tongue, one here, and I just took it all off when I turned 30. I was like, I'm too old for that shit, so I just kept the ears.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't mind.
I come from an era when in Brighton, where I grew up, you not uncommonly find people shoving safety pins through their nose.
Yeah,
that's from my town.
Wasn't in my head at all.
I guess if you don't have like piercings, you can always use safety pins for a look.
I had a safety pin through my ear. That was one of my early piercings back in the original punk days.
Yeah, it was very trendy in the 80s.
Yeah, I remember that.
Late 70s, certainly.
Fashions come and go, even with piercings and body art and things, but it does come back, doesn't it? And reemerges. It emerges in a lot of different cultures too, independently.
Yeah, sailors have been tattooed for either, so it's a tradition. It comes and goes. It comes and goes. Takes different forms. It's culture. It's not form.
Oh yeah.
I do have a question.
Hey, your mic is working.
What if you get an anime tattoo and piercing?
Ooh. I would totally be into that. I would thought like, what kind of tattoo would I get? I would definitely get like Alucard from like a Castlevania Symphony of the Night on like my sleeve or something like that. I love this video game, or I love this anime so much. I scarred my body for it and something like that.
Well, start small. Just a little thing somewhere, like on a shoulder or an ankle, or underside of the arm, whatever. Just
don't do like me and undergo 18 fucking hours of tattooing.
So basically, what you're suggesting is a gateway tattoo.
Pretty much, yeah, that's it. You start small, and then you're like, oh, I don't know, and then you feel so happy with it, and you feel so brave, and you feel so proud of it, and you're like, oh, I could get another. So what I did for my tattoo, because I actually am starting to feel like the need to do it again. About every 5 years, I notice I get this urge to get my tattoo or get a tattoo, and what I did last time was I had mine re-inked to freshen up the colors, and then I just added some flair to it rather than going and starting something new, and that seemed to be fine. But piercing too, you get like one little piercing, you're like, oh, I could get another one, and then get another one.
That shit is addictive, isn't it? Yeah. Look at my fucking body, for fuck's sake.
Well, let's lock on. You want to take us on the tour?
I love the one.
No, because there's a lot on my back, and I can't show you.
Oh, we don't need everything, but maybe just the arm, one arm.
I want to see. I want to see the arm with the.
The small one.
No, the other one. Oh yeah, that one. That's it. It's
a yarn ball with a skeleton head. How do you a skull?
Yeah.
A skull needle, and it's written yarn nerd. And there's a flower too somewhere here. The yellow is awful with it bleeds a lot with yellow.
Oh,
but
awesome.
Yeah, I like that one.
Mm-hmm.
Did you design that yourself?
No, it's the artist who did it. I told him I wanted a yarn ball and a skull, and he came out for that. And I was so happy with it, and I said, "Yeah, let's do it."
Cool.
I designed the big one, but it's too big.
Well, hey, you guys all found a news story that you wanted to bring, because we were having like hangouts and we're discussing the weather, and it was just like it was okay to do once a month, but we shouldn't be discussing the weather every month.
I don't know. I just listened to you and Kevin talk about dick.
Hashtag not all dicks.
That when you said that made me laugh out loud, and I scared the cat actually.
Oh, sorry, Kitty. You inadvertent chain of events.
No, it's used
Butterfly
to
effect.
me yelling all the time. I'm a loud talker.
Would that be the butterfly dick effect?
Maybe.
Now we enter the dick joke portion of the
program. We haven't
what?
entered demonetization yet, but
And yet I was at Ace Comic Con in Seattle last night, and I just had an evening with Kevin Smith, so I'm used to dick jokes actually.
How was it?
It was a lot of fun. I don't know if like they had cameras when they were filming, and other like panels that they had earlier today went up onto like YouTube, like a Ace Universe YouTube channel. So I'm not sure if the other people are going to get to like watch Evening with Kevin Smith, but for me it was a lot of fun. And one guy was asked a question of how like Kevin Smith like did 3 episodes of like Supergirl and 3 episodes of Flash, and then Kevin Smith just like, oh yeah, that was a lot of fun. He goes on talking, rambling on as we usually do, and then like he usually do, and he goes like, I just realized you haven't asked a fucking question yet.
With Kevin Smith, you can't get a question in. No way.
I was amazing that we got like 7 in out of the hour. They of course went over time and cut off the mics of the contestants at one point, or the participants, but then he finally got to ask like a couple of final questions. He also danced for someone. It was like, I need to take another question. I can't end a show like that. That's pathetic. You ask the question right now.
That sounds like fun. So does anyone want to go first with their news story? And let's try to keep them to about 5 minutes, not more, so everyone has a chance.
I might as well try. Go ahead, Bruce.
Okay.
You know how to do it, so go ahead.
Okay, well, try my best. I'm not sure I'll hold up, but get it out of the way. Mine was the one that shall I do the share now.
Yep, go ahead and do share to everyone or whatever. Share all.
Okay, that's it then.
Yep, and I'll lock it on you. Hey, it's me.
Good.
Not anymore. Yeah, you can see it.
Okay, good. So this is the sort of press release that went with the Demos report, Homings Once Past. It's all about nostalgia and how it's used as a rhetorical device in election campaign and what it meant in Britain, France, and Germany during the Euros and so forth. It's actually the one that Sargon mussed up. He tried to make it the high point of one of his speeches recently, because he just included half the statistics and misrepresented it, because he went to believe the headline of the Daily Mail piece. Would you believe? he didn't even bother reading the Daily Mail piece all the way to the end. He said it would be give him much better. Yeah, but anyway, the paper itself is very, very interesting because what it's saying is that basically, because we're being through a very sharp period of change, people have lost confidence in the past, lost confidence in themselves in the future, and into that maelstrom went the Brexit vote, and part of the result is hang on that, really, with the different strategies, the different campaigns being discussed. It seems to be quite a major work. I thought it was very, very helpful because what it means, to me at least, is that if you seize hold of the narrative of the past and get some kind of hold on the minds of the, actually sort of get your message over much more effectively than if you try to theorise about the future, because people don't have any confidence in the future. They think they know the past, and it's but although they distrust nostalgia, they think that they are very aware of the past, and they say, well, or badly, they think the countries are doing well, badly they are themselves are doing within that sort of narrative. So I thought it was a very interesting piece, and I just sort of throw it out there.
Well, obviously, as a mixed methods proponent of social science, I find this fascinating. I was wondering if you could scroll down a little bit, because sure. I think that, the whole thing we heard when Barack Obama got elected, this wasn't the America I grew up in, on Fox News, and Sean Hannity and Bill O'Reilly, and then Jon Stewart pointed out, but the America you grew up in was segregated. But yes, this notion of back in the good old days, and we knew who we were and whatever else, that the rose-colored glasses, it really ends up taking times that were oppressive, and there's a lot of bigotry 100 years ago institutionally. They wouldn't have the employment protection laws; they were just starting. But we see those times as better, and I wonder to what extent it's because when people think back about, I think back about the 80s, I remember the Cold War and all of the Soviet stress, the US-Soviet antagonism. But I was also a kid. I didn't have a lot of understanding of the depth of it, and I didn't have to pay bills. And so I'm wondering how much of that nostalgia is also bound up with childhood. Sometimes, obviously not for everybody, but the kinds of people who would use nostalgia, and think back to those times fondly, might also be remembering it through a child's mind and not a very, an adult realistic ones. So in terms of the stories, by the way, it was just so that we'd stop talking about the weather. If anyone came to the group without a story, it's okay. It's not like you didn't do the reading. I'm not going to mark you down in the book. So you can just take part in other people's things. That was it. It was just to try to be something. I
am so offended that you don't want to hear about English weather.
Let's talk about the weather in different parts of the world for 90 minutes.
It's raining and not hot.
I'm from Seattle. It is cloudy, not really raining, and has been hot. There you go.
If you have a new story, stop talking about the weather, please. don't steal other people's subject.
Sorry.
So, back to Bruce's topic. Anyone else want to come in on what he was saying or what he was presented? Yeah.
I did get a chance to read parts of the At Home and in Order, the actual study itself, and it was quite a lot. So I didn't get through all of it, but I did quite even find it interesting. I remember how they also covered how nostalgia is kind of used as almost like a soothing mechanism for certain people that when they feel down or when they feel anxious about the future, which Bruce just mentioned when he was sharing the article, that people who don't have confidence in the future, they will just revert to nostalgia and thinking about the good old days or something like that. And I find that quite interesting, especially in our media. Why is it so much 80s properties coming back and becoming new big budget movies, or reboots are happening and stuff like that? It's because people are nostalgic for things that they watch as kids and stuff like that. There's the new Thundercats as well and other things like that. So I did and how that affects political movements and stuff like that. I mean, not just like Brexit or like the some of the political parties, or like French National, I believe was mentioned in the study itself, and the one and of party in Germany as well. It is kind of like, it's scary to think about it, like how strong nostalgia is for a lot of people and how they vote for UKIP or how they vote for like Trump in the last election and stuff like that. So it was quite interesting read of what I've read of it. And thanks for sharing, Bruce.
Anybody else?
All right, yeah, so you can
Yes,
hit,
thank
yeah, go ahead, Chris, sorry.
No, I had nothing. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
I made a noise.
Okay, well, I'll just say that if you could read the bit that I've highlighted, I think you'll find there's much more in this report than you think. I think I've got as a liberal Lee joke to the subject of nostalgia. About it's all old or hat, and it doesn't need to be paid attention to. It does need to be paid attention to. I think it's an important report. Anyway, I'll stop there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is
thanks for
going
that.
on.
Yeah, and I think nostalgia, Make America Great Again, too, is very relevant to a lot of,
You've
and even
absolutely
Putin,
bet.
Putin looks back to the extent of the Soviet Empire, right?
Yeah.
So,
Control back to you.
You know, it's so funny because when people talk about Make America Great Again, I think of different aspects. I mean, because like I remember growing up in the 80s and people seem to deify that time as well, like Reagan, and it was a horrible time to be a teen. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I
the
agree.
AIDS crisis was raging, and it was being ignored, not treated as a health issue. It was being
Well-
treated as a moral issue.
If I can come back and get that again, because what you're really saying is that the nostalgia that people feel for the time when they have money is invalid. And I've got difficulty with that. Working people have money then. Look at the wage relations between. You tune into an economist called Mark Blythe, you'll see him do this very, very, very stringently. The contrast between what working people have got in America, they got a shaft basically. Everybody else went up. Working people got a shaft. And I think to have a remembrance of when working people had money, I think it's just a disservice. You're losing a big card there. Because what was going right in those days, economically and politically, was worthy of attention. Because if you really go getting back to them with those principles, I would think.
Well, we had stronger unions, and it was
Precisely.
Basically that helped.
Well,
they were all corrupt, and there was many stories about that. But
but that was the few. I mean, you're really talking about a certain small percentage of people. It wasn't like the middle class, especially in the UK, but in America as well. I mean, it was the middle class if you look at it, I mean, it was biggest between like 1930 and 1950. But like Kristi said, that was more about unions.
And also, the British middle class are different from British working class, whereas working family.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah. Oh, that's true. But
I mean, the broad front of the working people, about 70% of the working people, about 70% of the population. Look at that demographic percentiles. Check out Mark Blythe. We'll show it to you. Curves are devastating. The after Bretton Woods agreements was the best period that we've ever had, historically. Until about 1976, I think.
When you say we, who do you mean though?
People, us, everybody.
What people?
Well, I think
not
the
everybody.
OECD, the OCED or OECD, the organization, the European. I think he's talking about the sort of Northern Anglo-European.
When I say we, I think it's principally OECD. Yes, but that's perfectly allowable. Look, for people to remember when they have money, it's not a bad thing.
Yep.
When people had money, though, I mean, that's problematic on so many levels.
Well, I think also, too, I mean, you had fewer electronic devices. Housing was a lot more affordable, and people had, a television. And so the kinds of things we spend our money now on are different from what so I think it's hard to do a like for like, but I think what has been the case.
I'm saying more towards, you're talking about straight white male.
No, I'm talking about everybody.
No, everybody wasn't doing better then.
No,
it wasn't doing
black
better.
Black Afro-Caribbean people weren't doing better then.
They were because they had money. It's their money. Yes, they will do better.
Well, I think what we need to do is have you guys present your economic charts next time. Because I wanted to kind of limit it to 5 minutes per article. But no, that's
there you go. It's inevitable. No feelings.
we can look. There's an interesting video. It's I think an early TED talk by a statistician, Hans somebody, not Gruber, not from Die Hard, but he looks at economic data from UN data from like the 1960s up until the 2000s, and he looks at trends in poverty in the world and also where money has grown and where it hasn't. And that, so I'll see if I can track that down, and I'll put it in the link, and I'll put it in the group too, so people can take a look, because I think it will contextualize some of the discussion here.
Good.
Yeah. So who's Tom? I know you had an article too, and I know Jonathan did. So I don't know if you guys want to arm wrestle for it.
I
Tom jumped in.
Wait a minute, I have an article? I don't remember that.
Oh, I thought you said you could screen share, but I guess you were just talking about your ability to screen
because
share.
I know how to do that. But speaking
Okay,
of screen shares, I'm going to just quickly do that right now, because I think I did find the TED Talk that you're talking about, Hans Rowland's Global Population Growth Box by Box. So I'll keep this link in, like, well, you probably will know how to like find the link and stuff like that. But yeah, that's Hans Rowland's. That's the population growth box by box. Yeah, not Alan Rickman.
All right, so Tom,
no.
hopefully, yeah, we've waffled enough to have you be all set up for your article, and then Leto has hers in French, which she will translate for us.
Let me see if I can do this. I don't need to. Okay, I have no idea what's going on because okay. Let me see. Can you see the article now?
Nope.
Not yet. So what you need to do is drift your mouse over to the left side of the screen and hit the green box. That'll pop up and say screen share.
Oh, I see. Okay, wait a minute.
There we go. Yeah, now we're screen sharing. Now you're
okay. Okay. Yeah, because I can't see it now.
Just now, you just have to click up and find the article. Yeah, I think we can see it now.
Yep.
Okay. Are you locked on now?
Mm-hmm.
Because I can't see you now. Okay.
If you look in the bottom of your screen, oh no, you're right. You can't see anything now. Never mind.
Oh, I see. It says stop sharing. Okay. So when I'm done, I'll just hit that. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can do this. Okay. Basically, this is just sort of a painless, fun, cute story about something that happened actually before the Cambrian, back about before 550 million years ago. So one thing that we learned from this is that all things pass, and it will not necessarily be like it is today all the time, which ought to give us a little solace. That's the political part. Okay, now there's a little more political coming up, though. Okay, they found in this Australian fossil bed from that time, just before the Cambrian, they found highly preserved fossils in a bed they've called Alice's restaurant bed, Alice's restaurant fossil bed, because after the Arlo Guthrie song, Alice's Restaurant, because you can get anything you want there. Like, I'm reading what you've seen. Okay, all right. So these are on the left here. That's Obamas coronatus, and these fossils are named after Obama for his love for science. And on the right are Attenborough's Genet, after Richard Attenborough for his contributions to science and naturalists pursuits.
That's cool.
Yeah, and basically, this fossil bed is about 150 miles north of Adelaide, South Australia. So it's kind of up in the hills. Let me see. Okay, this is a close up of the Attenborough. That's the one named after David Attenborough. David Attenborough, not Richard Attenborough. Okay, I think it's Dave. Okay. Anyway, you can see look at the detail on that. That's just a tiny little. That's just a tiny little thing, and that's you can see. They can't identify, and it's not. They can't tell, and they don't think it's related to any modern animals at all. But it is just so cool, and it couldn't move anywhere. It was just stuck to the bottom of the ocean, feeding off the bacteria and all that kind of crap on the bottom of the ocean. And this stuff may or may not have given rise, though they think it's an animal, not a plant. And so this is kind of from the very beginning of animals on Earth, when animals were just arising out of, the pre-existing biota. And let's see now.
I think the kind of animals it reminds me of is like those kind of like flat worms that are on the bottom of the ocean that I saw one time on a Discovery special.
I was thinking more like jellyfish.
Yeah, well, but it's not. Well, I look at it and I almost think it's bilateral, but they say it's really not related to any bilaterarians like us later. So I don't know what this structure down the middle is. If it was later, I would say it's a digestive system. Although I don't know which is the mouth and which is the asshole, but well, I'll be the asshole for the okay, but you see how it radiates these beautiful grooves, and how the detail of that, the preservation, how fine the grains of sediment must have been that covered it, and then as it fossilized, just formed into this gorgeous fossil. And they're all over the place in this fossil bed, and other places they have similar but not the same fossils. And then the Obama coronatus here, that's harder to see, but it's it stuck to the bottom of the ocean, also feeding off the microbial mats, and you can see they're kind of like a little crown in some of these. And they don't think it's related to mollusks at all. Though I don't know. I'm not sure if they do. But I mean, no, I'm serious, because a lot of this stuff that happened before the Cambrian, it's really hard to identify. Even in the Cambrian, it's hard to identify some of this stuff as to whether it's related to anything that's still living.
Right, exactly.
Any families, classes that are still living.
The real question, though, is: was there anything that Jesus could ride?
Or ski on?
I don't think he could. I don't think he could ride on any of these, but I think he can sit the coronatus thing. He might. Coronatus, being crown. I was thinking he could use it as a throne, but on the other hand, if that's a crown, he'd have to stand on his head to do that, which would be an interesting image. I would like that.
Now, the image I got in my head is because I'm thinking these things, these fossils happen to be flat or something like that, and I'm thinking the creatures that they're from are also flat too for some reason. So I'm thinking that Jesus put them on his feet and used them as snowshoes or skiing shoes or something like that. That's where my mind went. Skiing Jesus.
Yeah. Well,
and the other one surfing Jesus.
Yeah. Hang ten. Or however many appendages you had in those days. But these are so tiny, though. He would have to be incredible. He would have to be, like a couple millimeters high to use them for that. Anyway,
tiny Jesus.
Yeah, and I had, in looking at these pictures, I had to ask myself, where are the circles and the arrows, and the paragraph on the back of each one telling us what it was. Nobody else.
I got that one. I got that one.
Okay. Anybody else get that? It's from Alice's Restaurant.
Oh, okay.
And
Officer Obi.
Officer Obi, and showed the pictures and the shiny colored glossy photos with the circles and the arrows, and paragraph on the back. Yeah. Anyway, that's
make a music reference. I got it. So
there you go.
You guys and Michael Rollins will be the people who get that one.
Yeah,
pretty much.
We can count on you. Okay.
You're a fucking bunch of nerds.
Thank you. Thank you. At least I'm not a geek.
I call myself some random geek for a reason. The guy wearing R2-D2 hat and sweater.
Oh, do we have a? Oh, sorry. Go ahead. You go finish, Tom, and then I'll ask Jonathan if he's wearing leggings.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, does anybody have any comments on this? This is just kind of something else other than what was probably going to be on the rest of your stories. Some fun thing to remind us that there are still things, wonderful things going on in the world. That things are still being found, wonder is still to be had, and that if we remember that this happened over 500 million years ago, and they're not here anymore. 500 million years from now, Trump won't be alive. So there's hope. There is hope.
The only comment I have is Attenborough is probably stoked to have a fossil named after him because he's a giant nerd too.
Oh yeah, I would think Obama would be pretty happy about it too. Although I'm not sure about the Coronados, because right there's an Alex Jones conspiracy theory waiting to happen.
No doubt.
Alex, Obama wants to be a king, so he got this crown.
No, I'm waiting for Alex. I'm waiting for Alex Jones to go on and on about how Oprah is a secret Marxist, and that's a callback to a hangout that Kristi and I did last week.
yeah, I remember that. Okay, anybody else?
I would just like to say that this is why Steve Shives for 273 episodes did and now the good news, and which was mostly scientific discoveries and stuff like that, because it's just a nice friendly reminder while we are inundated with the bleed that if it bleeds it leads kind of news stories and stuff like that, the essentialized and outrageous stuff that we read in our Twitter feeds, our Facebook feeds, and all of those news feeds and whatever news sources we have, whether it is CNN, MSNBC, or Breitbart or Fox News, we're always kind of outrageous things. So seeing these cool scientific discoveries of something over 500 million years ago is just awesome to me. And true, the scientist doesn't know, but that is an appropriate scientific position of we don't know. And from there, you can learn so much and something like that. And Neil deGrasse Tyson even said sometimes it's better just to have the question, because then you can imagine and discover a lot from that. So I find this really interesting. And I'm going to look up Allison's Restaurant now since there was a music reference. And I can dig old Glutton Fashion music as well, so I'm going to listen to it.
Old Fashioned? Wait, that's the music of my... Oh, yes.
It's 20-some minutes long, so just put the headphones on and go.
Yeah, sure. It's an investment of time, and it's really... But if you want to be culturally literate, I think you need to know these things. Okay, anybody else? Should I stop sharing? Or
yeah, you can stop sharing. I'll kind of close out by saying that not only am I sort of in awe of the time span involved between when those things were alive and us now, that's sort of awe-inspiring to think about. But it's also, to me, awe-inspiring that we are awestruck by it, that we have the capacity of beings to feel that kind of wonder and that we're interested and we seek it out. And Marianne, her mic is working, so I'm
yes.
you.
Yay, Mariana!
Hello, good to see you.
Yeah, so just on that point, hello, Mariana. How are
Yes.
you?
Hi.
Yay.
It took me ages to find the settings in the Windows firewall that blocked everything.
Oh, jeez,
That's-
Windows. This is why one of my favorite oxymorons is not only like thunderous silence or military intelligence. My favorite oxymoron is, or Seattle Sunshine. My favorite oxymoron is Microsoft Works.
Yes.
Good point. Good point. Right. So we've got Leto. You've got a story for us but you're not going to screen share because it's in French.
No,
Oh,
it's
wait. Mariana, do you have any like comments on like the stories that have been shared by either Tom or either Bruce?
I didn't get much of the discussion because of the computer wrangling.
No,
so,
that's
no.
right. That's right. That's okay.
All right. So the French story.
Okay. So it's not really it's a story. It's a new story, but it's something ridiculous to make everyone laugh, because sometimes the level of trolling of people is used for good is just amazing. So some time ago, the French president Macron ordered some new dishes, some new plates for the Élysée. It's like the French White House, for those who don't know. And he ordered for 500,000 worth of fucking plates, just after commenting on welfare programs being way too expensive, and the dishes of the Élysée are paid for by taxpayers. So that was nice. And so a couple of regular Joes started something on Twitter. They decided to call for people to send to the Macrons all their old dishes, so they don't have to spend too much money to buy new ones.
That's amazing.
And apparently, a lot of people responded to the call, and the guy who started that is called Jackie Lièvre, which is the most French redneck name you can have. I mean, it's amazing.
Can you say it one more time?
Jackie Lièvre. Lièvre is a French for hair. Hare. Like the rabbit, but savage. And it's pretty amazing, because the hashtag is called J'offre ma vaisselle au Macron, which translates with I gift my dishes to the Macron. So it's a hashtag on Twitter, and it's hilarious, and I love that story. So that happened, and our president is an asshole who thinks he's a king, and he should remember what happened to our last kings.
Yes.
No, the last wasn't the guillotine one. It was Napoleon the last.
Oh, okay.
Third, right?
The third, Napoleon the third.
Yeah, what happened to him?
He was exiled and then executed.
So he was executed, but not guillotined. Okay. You have more than just the guillotines as forms of execution. Gotcha.
With rifles, I think. I'm not a history nerd, so I don't know the details, but I know he was exiled and he came back to try to retake power, and he was executed, which is a nice story.
An autocrat, yeah, trying to
Yeah,
not happening.
Hitler kind of took the shade of all the awful people we had throughout history, and the Napoleons, all three of them were as bad as Hitler. We have to remember that.
So there we go.
Yes.
3 stories. Anyone else have anything that they wanted to share? I'll take it off of Locking on Leto. You lovely smile.
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
Ooh, okay. Well, I guess you can lock the screen onto me, and we can do the fashion show.
Let's go.
I think so. I think this is the first time I have worn this old outfit, this ensemble, on the Kristi Winters Patron Hangout. I have worn this on the C Shots Patron Hangout, but we start with the R2D2 Bullard. This is the most expensive part of the costume. This is a hat from the same hat maker of the Boba Fett. The Captain America crush cap and steampunk goggles, and the Bloodborne hat, which has been called a pirate hat too, so I'll accept that as well. Now, and then the sweater, of course, R2D2, and yes, since I am leggings man, here are the leggings.
Oh my God, they match.
Yes, and I got socks too. I mean, yeah, I could have gone with just the socks and wear shorts or something else, or pants with the socks over it and stuff like that. But I have the leggings too, and on the other side, yeah, it's all R2D2, top to bottom, head to toe.
Wow, that's what people come for, really.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, the rest of this stuff is irrelevant. Sorry.
Now, being in the UK, I'm wondering, are you wearing R2D2 pants?
I haven't bought any R2D2 pants, so you have to trust me that I'm not. Unfortunately, I guess I have to go commando in order to truly wear the R2D2 top to bottom. But I also wear leggings, and I don't think it's fair to go commando in leggings. I don't know. Never tried that before.
I think that's a good, wise decision.
Yeah, I would say so.
But you are ready at a moment's notice to go to any con. You are ready to go.
Yeah.
I dress like this at work too, just with shorts on.
I like to see.
Over my leggings.
I like to see you in a C-3PO costume or outfit. Primarily because
all in gold.
Yeah, primarily all in gold, but also because R2D2 doesn't have legs really, and C-3PO does, and so it would be and arms, so it'd be more appropriate for it would look more natural. I mean, yeah, whatever. But anyway, I like to see you in C-3PO head to toe.
Sure, then I can do a C-3PO impression as much as I can. Come on, R2, we must go this way. This way is much more easier, less rocky.
But you got to do the arms too. Or are you doing?
I'm not much of a storyteller.
That's
my accent can wane on that, unfortunately.
Yeah,
really
right country, but a little far north. So can I throw out an unpopular opinion?
Sure, why not?
I think that the first 3 movies, really the first 2, 4 and 5, New Hope and Empire, were the only good Star Wars products that came out on film. I don't know about the fanfic. But basically, I think now looking back, it's kind of like a H. Bomber Guy's Sherlock. Always was bad, but we didn't realize it until now. It's just like there's nothing there. I don't know. They don't really have heroes that connect. From what I've seen.
Rogue One would be my vote for the first movie. Really, should go Rogue One, 4, 5.
I like Rogue One a lot. I liked how it was like a spy espionage kind of movie in the Star Wars universe, and there are times where it's it doesn't feel like Star Wars, but then yet it has to be Star Wars, and so there's kind of that clash, that dissonance there in the individuals in this narrative a little bit. But no, I still that is an unpopular opinion, but and I could fight you on that, but yeah,
Well, here's my thesis. Because I watched one of the videos on YouTube about it was how Star Wars was saved in the editing. And my thesis is Lucas has never been a good film writer. He just got really good advice because he showed the first screening of Star Wars: A New Hope to Spielberg and like tons of really talented people who said, this makes no sense. You've got to do it. And they edited the crap out of that movie to save it. And then he didn't direct the second one. Am I right?
Yeah,
he only directed the prequel. Yeah. That's why it's the worst ones.
Yeah,
actually.
And they were right.
Kid director is awful.
So he was like the right movies for the time, but just like Superman, part of the problem with Superman is he's trapped in the morality of the 1950s. Like when you get to when they start to remake them and expand them, one, Lucas is a terrible director.
Yes, yes.
And we've moved on to sort of postmodern heroes who are complicated and gray and have daddy issues. You know?
Yeah, which is why I actually like Kylo Ren as a character, not only as a villain in general, because you can easily tell that he was complicated. Even though, like, when I first saw Force Awakens, I was like, oh, someone imitating Darth Vader, a teenager imitating Darth Vader, and I was like, not sure about that. Him stopping the bolt from the X-Wing was just fucking cool. I was like, this movie won me. This movie won me over, and we're just that scene. But I love how when you learn about Kylo Ren is that was the whole point. He is an angsty teenager who is imitating
He's the
Darth
bad guy
Vader.
of our time.
Exactly. The bad guys of our times. And the New Order is also the bad guys.
It's exactly that.
Because they are literally not.
Are you saying that Luke Skywalker did not have daddy problems?
We didn't know he had until halfway through, right? Doesn't not the way that like Star-Lord does.
Actually, I think he had sister problems.
Which you also didn't know.
Yeah,
yes.
Before Game of Thrones, there was.
I'm sorry if Carrie Fisher was my sister. I would. I'm just saying.
Well, if Carrie Fisher was your sister, so would I.
So back to your unpopular opinions, Kristi. Hey, you are totally correct on like George Lucas is not that good as a filmmaker. Like people we say that he is and stuff like that. He's a good big idea guy. He has a great, interesting, big idea, but it's really other people that should like take his story and write a better script for like Willow or for the Indiana Jones, and give a more competent director to like to keep it short or keep it to the point. Like Shakespeare said, brevity is the soul of wit. So don't waste people's times. And yeah, once in the prequels, those ones are so terribly directed. Now, I am a fan of George Lucas's first film, THX 1138, but that's more of like kind of an art film in my opinion. And Billy D. Williams was also a big fan of that. He said that like he didn't see Star Wars: A New Hope or like American Graffiti either, which is a movie I need to see personally. But good. He was, yes, I know. I heard a lot about American Graffiti and how it also tells its story narratively very differently as we're cut through like multiple different storylines and stuff like that, and how important the music was.
Did he write that as well?
I have to look that up because that's a good point. Because is he a good writer? That is definitely a good point. I don't think he's a good writer. Not for dialogue, not for plot and progression and stuff like that. Good for idea story, even though he honestly borrows from like Akira Kurosawa from Hidden Fortress, or like old or westerns as well as like that, or the old serials that he grew up as a kid. So yeah, I agree with you that George Lucas is not a good filmmaker or storyteller.
His first wife was a very, very good story editor. So
I think
that comes out in that documentary on YouTube.
I think
I didn't see it.
I think his best idea was selling the franchise to Disney.
Yeah,
I concur. You want a real controversial opinion? My favorite one is The Force Awakens.
Not that too controversial.
I like The Force Awakens.
If you listen to the fans,
those people.
It's very controversial. Fandoms are shit. For real, every fandom is shit. People think they own the fandoms and they make it completely toxic.
What I found really, really fun was all the online speculations about who Rey actually was, and she's nobody, but she's strong in the Force. So all had these, she's the long lost daughter of whoever, Luke and Leia.
She's too perfect to be congenital.
No, it's probably gonna be some immaculate conception.
I like that she is no one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that makes it better in my mind. That's perfect.
I agree.
Yeah, some people.
With a point here for me.
Sure.
When I remember Star Wars, I remember when it first came out because I was there. So it's part of my nostalgia, if you were. But what I remember is not how good times were, but how bad times were. 70s, I was growing up and everything was going wrong. Britain then was very dingy, dirty, grey, horrible. But Star Wars was modern. It was it's a modern piece, as you say. It's clean. It was bright. It was exciting. It turned over on its heads. That's what I remember.
And I think another thing that made the first Star Wars: A New Hope so successful at that time in 1977, Jason Harding and Steve Shives mentioned this when they reviewed Star Wars on their podcast, Late Seating, is that before that you had the family-friendly films that the adults weren't interested in seeing and didn't care for, and then you have just the hard R adult films or stuff like that the kids are not interested in seeing or stuff like that. And so Star Wars managed to strike them down the middle perfectly, catch lightning in the bottle, and managed to please both the adult audiences and the kids audiences, because there was actually legitimately something for both audiences that they enjoy, which is why it was a massive culture phenomenon, and still is to this day. Yeah.
It was a huge production number as well. The distribution of it was phenomenally well funded for its time. So it was a big banker. So yeah.
I'll just say too that I've screen shared myself, but before I explain what's on the screen, I knew someone who was a young man in England growing up when Star Wars came out in cinema, but he was more like 10 or under, or some close in age to that. And he said he remembered very clearly how before Star Wars came out, they were playing basically World War II in the streets. And after Star Wars came out, they were all playing with laser guns.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I love how, on your screen, Kristi, the YouTube has in your sidebar your own Hangout.
We should watch that.
But another point I want to jump back on is how the fans. There's that degree. There's the fans that absolutely hate the Force Awakens and then the Last Jedi because there's a woman as the main character and a black guy's main character. And I'm not going to totally ignore those, as we all should. But there's also some fans who's I didn't like the Force Awakens because of blah 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 blah, and they go on and how their perceptions of what is Star Wars or what is the Force power or how things are inherited and stuff like that, and how Force Awakens and The Last Jedi a lot didn't jive with that, and the whole Rey. People still speculate and probably still will say, despite what was happening in Last Jedi, that Rey has to be a parent of something or a parent of someone, because we just kind of thought of strong Force powers must be hereditary because there was Darth Vader and Anakin Skywalker who gave birth or fathered Luke Skywalker, so it must be hereditary. But with Rey, break that mold totally and said, no, you can be nobody. You could have no lineages whatsoever, but still be strong with the Force. That means anyone can be a Jedi.
But
and
it's a trend that was going on in all the video games in the Star Wars universe, that in the 2 Knights of the Old Republic, you're no one. You begin as no one. It's not something that's inherent to families. I mean, I don't know. What bothered me the most is what people are bitching about Rey being a Mary Sue, but not Anakin. He's not a Mary Sue.
Yeah.
Oh,
But Ray
Luke.
is a Mary Sue. So what? Why? I don't know it. And she can play. Okay, so
Yeah.
like I just said to Marty, I think the issue with Anakin Aiden Christensen is he was very badly directed.
Oh yes.
He did what George Lucas told him to do. I mean, even Samuel L. Jackson is bad in that movie. They're all
Natalie Portman.
awful. They're all fucking awful in that movie. The acting is they spend their life in front of a green screen. And don't even get me started on fucking Jar Jar Binks. Okay.
I just thought the first one was too busy. There was too much visual going on. You could never concentrate on anything.
I mean,
Oh, Mia Mariana, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I mean, for the directing, you could have switched out Natalie Portman with a clothes rack, and you wouldn't have noticed the difference.
Exactly.
Well, that was part of the point, though.
Exactly. And she gets a new dress every time she walks through a door. And that's another thing also is like how terrible the writing is. And Leather Media in his first review of like the Phantom Menace like really pointed out where he has the like experiment of like try to describe a character from any movie to someone else who has never seen the movie and has no idea what the movie is about without using the actor who plays that character, physical characteristics that how the character looks, or what that character's role in the story. And if you are able to describe someone without using those three things, then that is a sign of a good character. And when you try to describe characters in the Phantom Menace or the prequel trilogies, you find that it's difficult to describe those characters. I mean, I can describe Anakin Skywalker as angsty, but that's about it.
Yeah, actually, him and Kylo Ren are actually very similar. They're just both angry white teenager.
I thought Kylo Ren was actually trying to course correct from the prequels, as far as this is what Anakin should have been.
Yeah.
See, I kind of saw Hayden Christensen's character is almost like a jockey kind of spoiled brat. Whereas,
he's Donald Trump.
Whereas, exactly.
Yeah,
like a teenage Donald Trump.
I agree.
Really awful acting, and but when it comes to Kylo Ren, I feel like it's more of like a gothy kind of angsty teen. It's more realistic, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Kylo Ren's more emo, in a way.
Yeah, but it's
emo's good.
I don't know. It's
Today,
the same
Star Wars talk.
It's the same personality type.
Unpopular opinion from me. The Return of the Jedi was a good movie. I will fight people on this.
No, I agree. Fuck off with the fucking Ewoks, though. They're scary as shit.
I will not defend the Ewoks.
I also wanted to give again credit to the video, and it's Rocket Jump, which I would never have remembered, and it's called "How Star Wars Was Saved in the Edit." I haven't watched it obviously because I've been on a Hangout with you guys, but I'm pretty sure that's the one. So,
and I love how YouTube is recommending in the top right corner why Star Wars: The Last Jedi was a complete failure. YouTube.
All right, guys. Well, I have another Hangout. I'm going to be appearing on Gothic Intellect's channel in an hour. So we're going to keep this to a tight 60 so we can have like a 10-minute post chat hangout, and then I can rest a little bit between shows. Mm-hmm. But this was fun, guys, and I'm glad that not everybody brought an article. I know.
Big up to your new show, or?
Huh?
You give the big up to your new show, puff it up. Or?
Oh yeah, so Gothic Intellect, it's going to happen in an hour's time. It's over on her channel. Yeah, I don't have any links. Sorry, we're DMing each other, and I don't have the link yet. Or maybe I do, and I just I was completely unorganized. So
post
yeah,
it on Facebook when you have it.
Okay, I can do that. I'm on my Facebook page. Yeah, so that's happening. And again, thanks to the guy. Those of you who brought articles, it was a good number. I think if everyone had brought one, we probably wouldn't have gotten to it. And if we remember for next time, one thing we should remember before I go, which is not the TED Talks discussion on data analysis, which nerdy reasons I find interesting. But Tom, you saw the receipt for your
Yes.
secular women. Yes.
Yes, I saw that. Yeah. It was in USD, US dollars, but it was German punctuation.
Currency.
No,
right.
no,
yeah, with a comma.
German, yeah, so it was actually $1,100.
Yeah.
Because the comma is, once.
No, you're doing the thing wrong, not us. Okay, let's get that clear.
Go stuff your Euro pride crap.
My world pride. You are the only ones in the world who do that.
Exactly. We're number one. We get it right. Wait a minute.
And on that international scandal bombshell. You might be outnumbered in the chat, you Americans.
I am
ashamed of being American.
I am outnumbered.
I'll admit that.
I'm part of the outnumbering because I just realized how stupid that is. No, I'm fine. I'm fine with with imperial, not metric. I'm fine with the our punctuation. I'm fine with our calendar. The way we do our calendar and all that, all the rest of that. But France does better with leaders because at least historically they have rifles and guillotines. So we have.
We'll collectivize them. Don't worry, babe.
Okay. Yeah, I expect a visit from the Secret Service anytime.
Yes, on that revolutionary bombshell.
Yes.
Wrapping up the June patron hangout. Thanks to my patrons for your support, also for your time. I really enjoy these once a month hangouts. Thanks to those people who stopped by to watch in the future and currently. Appreciate you guys as well. So I've been Kristi. Everyone's been awesome. Goodbye from me and goodbye from everybody in the chat. Say goodbye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.